Hello everybody and welcome. I'm pretty excited because Gaijin just had a developer Q&A on April 20th, and when asked about Rank 7 Aviation, they said stay tuned to official War Thunder news. A lot of players were asking for naval variants of the Phantom to be added since we really only have the US Air Force versions. For the F4J and the F4S, I think those would be definitely good additions, and it says yes, we have such plans. But what would they be bringing? So the F4J definitely will be bringing new engines, and those will be characterized by longer jet pipes, so you'll be able to see the difference in the model, especially if Gaijin does it correctly. The F4J will also bring better handling because it has slotted stabilators and drooping ailerons, which are used to reduce the approach speed of the aircraft. It also has better avionics, principally the AUG-10 fire control system and the APG-59 radar. The F4J would also feature the ALQ-126 ECM suite. So the F4J would have a host of new features, but the F4S would have even more upgrades. We're talking better engines, the J79 GE10B engines, which would be smokeless, then the AUG-10B digital fire control system. The F4S would also feature a greatly enhanced turning performance with the addition of two-position leading-edge maneuver slats. So the next question really boils down to players asking if it's possible that we could see a form of basic stock missiles, such as the AIM-9 Bravos or the R3Ss, and Gaijin is saying that they're considering that for high-rank missile combat jets. I like that they're considering this. At a minimum, this may help with the playability and accessibility of high-rank jets. Having to spend GE just to have a fighting chance, I don't think is very fun for the player at all. There's also a question here about float planes. I don't really have an opinion on float planes at all. I don't really play at the tiers where the float planes are prevalent. So if they add them, that's great. More diversity for players is always a good thing. So the next question: do you plan to add a voice warning system in aviation? And the answer is yes. This might be an interesting addition. I like that they're thinking about this. I did a video talking about what's coming for rank 7 and beyond a couple weeks ago, and I think it makes sense to incorporate as many new systems as possible. Voice warning would increase player immersion and make it something that's tangibly different. It'd be more than you upgrade to the next jet, you get better missiles, a faster jet, and done. It gives a player a little bit more to look forward to and a kind of a differentiation in aircraft systems. There's a question here asking if the IL-40 would be added. I think that would be great if they added the IL-40 to a game. I've played this plane in a different game by a different company. It looks like a very interesting design, but I think we're probably looking at a next event plane or something along those lines. The next question is about crew mechanics for bombers. As it goes right now, I don't really play bombers a whole lot. Maybe if they improve the way bombers are implemented in a game, I would. But right now, I don't really have a whole lot of opinion on how crew are replaced in bombers as they become injured and or killed, or their stations become destroyed. Crew mechanics overall in the game probably need a little bit of work. Like for example, if the loader's loaded a shell already and then he gets killed, I don't know why the shell would then be unloaded, but that's just me. So moving on to ground forces, the question is, with the addition of the South African subtree, does this mean we might see British light tanks, a la the Scorpion, Scimitar, Fox, and the Saladin and Ferret? I hope that we get these pretty soon. And it says yes, new light combat units for Great Britain are planned. I'm excited for Britain to get new light tanks. In my opinion, a big reason why people didn't play Britain as much is because their main tanks are slow and there was a lack of light tank options. I'd always wondered why Gaijin left Britain with such an obvious capability gap. And it looks like the crux of the next question basically is asking if we can take off side skirts to allow for further customization. I'm all for customization, it increases player immersion, but I think this request is pretty low on the priority list. And the next question of why don't wreck tanks cool down during the game, long after they're destroyed, they remain hot as if still active, and it looks like to a lot of players that it's confusing them in thermal acquisition. of actual live targets is a problem. I think Gaijin did this on purpose. So let's talk a little bit. First of all, tanks won't cool down enough in a 20 minute match so that you can tell the difference. They've been on fire, pretty hot fires, ammo explosions. So it's pretty realistic that they would be pretty hot when you look at them in a thermal sight. And like I said, I think Gaijin did this deliberately. They wanted to decrease, in my opinion, I think they wanted to decrease the importance of thermal sights in the game. So they gave them some realistic disadvantages. Like it is confusing to look at vehicles out on the battlefield that are on fire or have been destroyed and knocked out against live vehicles. You just really have to look for movement. Also, smoke elements in the game really disrupt thermal sight acquisition as well. And I, for one, think that is a good move. I play a lot of Russian tanks. A lot of those Russian tanks, like the T-72s, don't have thermal sights. So versus their NATO competitors, they're at a disadvantage. So I don't really have a problem with the way this is in the game right now. It's unfortunate that some people do, though. But that's just my opinion. So the next question is two parts. It's asking about the Dardo infantry fighting vehicle for Italy. I would love to see Italy get that vehicle. Right now, they really have a lack of new additions at top tier. So it'd be great to see him get that. The other part of the question is asking about the Spike LR ATGM. That is a very lethal and dangerous anti-tank missile with many different variants. If introduced into the game, it would definitely need counters the day it was introduced into the game. Counters that don't currently exist, like hard kill APS systems, that would definitely need to be in the game. Otherwise, this would be extremely unbalanced. So I kind of agree with Gaijin right here that if they were to put it into the game, it's going to have reduced functionality. The next question is about voluminous armor. Of course, Gaijin's continuing to roll that out. Not every vehicle has that yet. So it's to be expected with so many vehicles in the game that might take a little bit. The next question is talking about the development of suspended armor. And Gaijin says yes, they're going to continue to introduce vehicles with different options for additional protection. I love the mechanic already. We saw this with the XM8 AGS. Lots of vehicles in the game would benefit from modular armor packages that are available out there on the market, and they could be added as upgrades. So for sure, increases in player immersion. It gives players lots of options and also increases the longevity of the game. Why not dive into detailed armor upgrades is something else. So the answer to the next question kind of surprised me. It's about British top tier. The Challenger 2 is the end of line vehicle right now. There's nothing else after that. So the answer from Gaijin kind of surprised me that they're looking at new variants of the Challenger 2 prototypes with different turrets, and we could have more Challengers in the line. So that confused me a little bit. I went out looking to see what is after the Challenger 2. What I think Gaijin's talking about here is the life extension program proposals that have started and stopped over the years. There are a couple of variants out there with different turrets, different kinds of armor packages, different upgrades that could be added to the game. So these would be prototypes, technology demonstrators, but I think that's great. I say add it. Since I don't play naval forces, this will be the last question I cover for ground. But the question is, why is there basically no top tier round for the T-90A and the T-72B3, so the Russian top tier tanks? And I was pretty disappointed with the answer because we have the Leopard 2A6 with the DM53, and we also have the M1A2 with the M829A1 round. So basically, Gaijin says they're cautious about the introduction of more powerful ammunition in top tier battles. I don't understand that after having DM53 in the game. So let's just continue. However, the current efficiency of top tier Soviet vehicles, except for the T-80U, is noticeably inferior to Western ones. So the reduction of BR and the new mechanics of the high explosive damage somewhat improved the situation, but not enough. Therefore, we consider the introduction of the 3BM48 Svinets round. So, like I said, I'm disappointed. When the 2A6 was introduced to the game with its outrageous go through everything DM53 shell, it didn't have any counters. I mean, I didn't even bother grinding the T90 because it was just getting annihilated by Leopards. It would have been smarter if Gaijin had given other nations updated shells at that point to compete with the implemented DM53. I just don't understand why they didn't do that then, and why all of this talk about this now. I don't understand. But at any rate, I'm looking forward to the new round for Russian top tier tanks. Maybe I'll finally start grinding out the T90. So thanks for tuning in to this video. If you like what you saw, please drop a like or subscribe or both. It always helps the channel out. And thank everybody again, and have a great weekend. I'll see you back next time.